What's up, everybody? This is Hog Farmer Joe from Hog Farmer Charitable Foundation. Before you listen to Enter the Lab podcast today, presented by Red Zone in the Lab, I'm asking you to help us on our mission by helping children and families affected by pediatric cancer by making a small donation at www.hogfarmercharity.org. Thank you, and as always, hail to the Commanders.
What's good people? It's post-draft, and of course we have draft grades. Man, people are out here enraged about draft grades. Draft grades are supposed to be fun, folks. Just conversation starters. Why y'all so sensitive? Giving another team a B, giving your own team a B, is not a declaration of war against another team or a declaration of treason against your own team. Everybody just relax, man. We got to September to figure these things out. And some of these things, realistically, we won't know for some years. Everybody chill out. Football season is almost here. Let's keep it classy and get through the offseason with some dignity. Let's have a great show.
What's going on, everybody? This is the 2023 NFL post-draft show. We're going to be talking about all the big moves that happened on draft day. Each three teams, what they did good, what are some things they could have did better. We also talk about some of the best draft picks, some of the surprise draft picks. Who is the team that you think is going to take the next step, and who is already claiming to be Rookie of the Year? So stick around, come back with us, get your lab coat on. It's time to enter the lab.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Enter the Lab with my boy GT, C. Henry, and you know your one and only Lady E.
All right, welcome back to Enter the Lab podcast. This is the post-draft NFL show with the lovely Lady E. And C. Henry, he's going to take a little, he'll be back in a couple of minutes. He had to take care of some things, but this is crazy. We just went through the draft last week. We saw some things that kind of went our way and saw some things that we did not expect from Thursday to Saturday. So just gotta say, Lady E, what do you think about the draft last week?
I told y'all before. I said it's gonna be some the way the smoke screens and everything was playing out, and the way things kind of was going. I knew that we were gonna be in for some surprises. So I'm very shocked that that dream actually came true. So it was exciting. Round one was a very, 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 very interesting round. I think that was the most I've ever seen people get excited. And then two, I would say that was the most I ever seen a lot of, even with the commentator, the draft analysts were even kind of shocked how some of their top guys fell. Let alone fell into the second round. I mean, even there was still some marvelous talent in the third and fourth round. So there was some steals. So again, like I said, these smoke screens are some of them ain't smoke screens. Some of them are legit smoke screens. I'm talking to you, Houston. I am talking to you.
Before we talk about that big surprise right there, I think that's what makes the NFL draft so interesting. That's what makes it the biggest reality TV show in all of the nation. When, especially this year, there was so much parity in what teams could go, and they actually went a different direction. Like, nobody thought Seattle was going to do that at number 5, and nobody thought, Detroit was going to do that with a couple of picks they did in the first round. So it was a lot of surprises this year. And I think it was mainly had to do with where the quarterbacks were going and where some of the top players on the board where did they meet eye to eye with certain prospects, how far were they off or how close they were. So a lot of teams didn't want to take the risk and trying to take someone where you think, well, this guy is pretty close to this guy. Maybe I could trade down, try to get some picks for next year, try to build my team the other way around. So that's what made this draft so interesting to me. And that's why I love it so much. That's why we have these crazy reactions when we see, last Thursday we had the live stream, and was actually shocked by a lot of the picks that happened. Like I was just sitting here like, ain't no way in the world this just happened.
Yeah, no, like it really, like, again, like I said, it really kind of just made you, because again, we know how many times a Mel Kiper, draft board, how many of the top, draft analysts can legitimately have their draft board exactly and the teams pick exactly how they had it set up. Nobody wasn't expecting what we saw on Thursday, especially in them top 5 picks. Nobody wasn't expecting that. You couldn't write that if you really even wanted to. Nobody didn't have a clue. Like I said, people believing into these smoke screens, people believing into what the teams are saying and different things. I'm even talking to my fan base. My team said it. They didn't want Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter was off their board. There was no way we we're going to get Jalen Carter. So again, everything fell into place, kind of, not what we expected, but again, like you said, there are some surprises.
And let's go ahead and talk about one of the surprises so far. I think the only person who accurately had this right was Daniel Jeremiah, his final mock the night before the NFL draft. He had Houston trading up number 3 to take Will Anderson. And I got to say, especially all the rumors we were hearing about them not taking CJ Stroud. Some people did believe it, others did not. But they decided, look, we have to get the quarterback of the future some way or somehow. And they took the quarterback of the future at 2. And then they decided from the 12th pick, they traded back with Arizona to get one of the best defensive players in the draft. So now Houston is sitting there with a potential franchise quarterback and a potential defensive player of the year for years to come for the Houston franchise. And what do you think about that trade that happened on Thursday? Like, do you think that is a good trade, or you think they kind of gave up too much for, a guy like Will Anderson?
Well, we all knew that that Arizona wasn't going to go quarterback. You're up there in that position. You got those top players and you got, those top quarterbacks. You already knew. So I think Arizona already had an idea. And then, too, when you really think about it and you kind of go look at Kyler Murray's cap hit, they're stuck with him, unfortunately. So you're not going to waste a top pick on a quarterback and you already have one that you can't even move on from. Like, nobody's not going to pick up that trade. Nobody. So you're stuck with this person. So it was we already talked about it, that Arizona was going to have to move out that 3rd round spot. So Houston knew that. Houston already knew that Arizona could have went Will Anderson, but I think Arizona had a better plan. Is like, hey, let's steal something from them. Let's get us some more picks and let's just build, this draft from, the trenches on out. Because again, like I said, you're stuck with Kyler Murray. Point blank period. You could have brought in somebody, but his contract is too heavy to have up on the backup. So I don't feel like Houston. I feel like Houston is in this. You might as well say in this position of, hey, we don't have too many pieces. We don't have a quarterback. We don't have let's just start building up the team and let's start getting the things that we need. So I'm not shocked that they decided to go that route. I'm just shocked that, again, that they went that route. So. I agree. They're building up their team for the future. Will I say this is for everybody? No. If you're in Houston's position, you had a lot of picks. You had a lot of mobility. You could do this. Please, other teams and other fans of other teams, don't think your team can do this. Don't think your team can do this.
Yeah. And again, like when Houston made that trade, it shocked us, but at the same time, it didn't, because we're talking about 2 premium positions, the quarterback position and an edge rusher. You got to get a quarterback in today's NFL, and you have to chase the quarterback in today's NFL. So all in all, I think Houston did a slam dunk job with their draft picks. So outside of that, Lady E, what are some things that, after that pick that surprised you in the NFL draft? I'm going to keep it a stack. I think the one pick that surprised me, and throughout, you kept saying defensive line for the Seattle Seahawks. They went Devin Witherspoon at number 5. That really shocked me. So I already see the vision they're trying to do. And I talked to my group chat today, and I was like, are they trying to recreate the Legion of Boom? Not saying they don't have the Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman, and all those guys. But when you look at that, they have a young secondary now with Devin Witherspoon, Tariq Woolen, Quandre Diggs, and Jamal Adams coming off injury. So that's a fearsome secondary that Seattle is trying to rebuild after 10 plus years from the old Legion of Boom and leaving Russell Wilson.
I think, be honest with you, a lot of people said that's what Pete Carroll wants. That's what he's trying to go back to. So I'm not mad at the pick. Again, we all thought that Jalen Carter was going to be there, for them. So for them to pass up on there, you can already tell exactly where he wanted, where Pete Carroll was really trying to take that team. So I'm not mad at Seattle. I feel like Seattle actually did have a best draft. They probably have little question marks, but I feel like their draft class was a good draft class. I feel like they hit what they needed to hit. The two shockers were for me was the fact that the Colts decided that they wanted to go Anthony Richardson. I was hoping the Tennessee Titans would have jumped up there to get them Will Levis, but that didn't happen in the first round. And then the shocker for me, which is Henry's team, they wanted to go Gibbs at number 12. So I think that shocked a lot of people. Honestly, with that, is that a bad pick? No, because as we can see, as soon as that happened, we already knew DeAndre Swift was going to be out the door anyway. So that's a good pickup for him, but it just was like, dang, y'all traded back out of the 6th spot to go get Gibbs, So it just showed that Bijan was probably on their radar, but they didn't feel like that would be a good pick at number 6 for them to take a running back that high. So I don't blame them for that pick. But I think that sent a lot of head scratchers and tidal waves when the Detroit Lions went that way. So those are my two surprises with that. I think everything else kind of fell out in place. With that, it's even me going back. Now, I will say, to me, this was a reach, and that was taking Mozzie Smith for the Dallas Cowboys where they took him. I feel like they wanted to go tight end in the first round. And unfortunately, the Jets jumped them. No, I think it was Buffalo. It was Buffalo. Buffalo jumped them to take a tight end, and I think that's kind of why they went that way. So again, those are pretty much kind of where the head scratcher was, but I feel like everybody else fell in place.
Yeah, I will say another pick that shocked me too. Jack Campbell in the first round. To me, I wouldn't say there was no first round linebackers, but kind of I didn't see a linebacker actually going first. But Detroit actually decided to take, I won't say a risk for them because they do have a need at linebacker. Mm-hmm. And he was the best linebacker in the draft for a lot of people. Yeah. So him at 18 though, that completely shocked me because I was looking for a second round range for him. Let's see if C. Henry is up here right now. Is C. Henry here? Okay, he's not here. So let's go ahead and look at some other things that happened in the draft. So right now, of course, draft grade is going in. We're looking at all the teams. We're seeing how it kind of looks to all the national media. Who do you think had the best NFL draft so far this year?
There's a couple of teams that did it, but I'm going to give it to Houston though. I'm gonna give it to Houston. They did what they needed to come do. I would say a second would be Seattle. Then I will say the Bears, because I feel like the Bears kind of had a quiet one. I don't think anybody really was paying attention to what the Bears were doing. But when you go back and look at their class, they actually did very well. They hit their needs and they still, filled a couple of holes and still added depth. So I do like that. But I will give it to Houston. I mean, we know what the situation is down there in big old H-Town, Texas. We know what's going on down there. So I think like the two biggest steals was them getting CJ Stroud, then turning back around and getting Will Anderson. Like y'all solidifying and y'all building your team. You're building the foundation that you need for your team. And I feel like those would be two leaders that will lead that team. Like those are the new faces of the team. So I will give it to Houston. I would say that Houston really did what they needed to do. They came to do what they needed to do and left with what they wanted. There's still some questions, still some holes. But at the same token, I feel like, they're going on the right direction. They're stepping into the right direction.
Okay, so I'm kind of stuck between two. I'll probably do AFC and NFC. So for the AFC, I've really felt like the Colts had a great draft. When
Hmm.
you look at how they addressed the secondary with Julius Brents, he was a guy
Yeah.
that I was looking at in the second round, and they got Josh Downs, wide receiver out of North Carolina. And I've been screaming for the past couple of years that, in terms of their passing game, they don't really have someone that is as dynamic back there with Michael Pittman. So Michael Pittman
Yeah.
needed someone to complement his game, and they got
True.
that in
For sure.
Josh Downs. And of course, with Shane Steichen being there, he's supposed to be trying to inherit Anthony Richardson. So that draft class will be big if they hit on Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, and
And
I'll give them 2 years. I'll give them 2 years. Well, we could come back and look at this in like 2 years on paper. Yeah, I agree with you. They do look good. I think a lot of people are putting a lot in on Anthony Richardson right now, and I feel like that's going to be a lot of pressure on the young dude because he's already coming in with a lot of question marks.
yeah,
Um, just I mean, we know he has an arm, but we got to know, can he make the right decisions with that arm?
yeah.
So again, I kind of wish they kind of tone that down because I feel like that it's a confident boost, but then it also can be a confidence killer that if you don't go out and do what you want to do. So I fingers crossed if they get him and tell him to tune everything out and just focus on this game to get that. But yeah, I do agree with that.
Yeah. And another team that I felt like had a good draft, and I despise this team with a lot of passion, but I just have to give credit when credit's due. Uh, the New York Giants, this team that kind of had a breakout year with under Brian Dable and Joe Shorn. They didn't have the weapons they have now. So they addressed in the offseason getting tight end Darren Waller, and now they complement that with the other receivers in that room with Jalen Hylett, and they addressed the center position, and they addressed three top needs for that team
Yeah.
in 3 rounds, which was pretty incredible and impressive to me. So I don't expect the Giants to, backtrack. I'm just going to keep it real. I think they're a ascending team right now, especially with Daniel Jones at the helm. So with that, we talked about the best drafts. Who do you think had the worst draft?
You know what? Because I would say that I don't understand what they were doing. I would say the Buffalo Bills. They gave me a lot of question marks and kind of what they did. I wasn't understanding kind of where they were trying to go when it came down to it. So yeah, I would say Buffalo for the AFC and NFC wise, I'm really going to say, you know what? I don't really think the NFC really had any bad draft. If anything, I would really kind of look at the Cowboys per se. And I'm not even gonna say they had a bad draft. I just feel like they didn't try to make any moves to hit on the people that they really needed, if that makes sense. I know they needed a tight end. They still need somebody behind Pollard. I think they even drafted a running back. I have to go back and go look at their full draft, but especially again. But I don't think they did what they needed to do to get the pieces that they need. So I don't really think the Cowboys has gotten better. So I'm gonna give that one to them. That they really just, to me, didn't hit on the needs that they needed to hit. I feel like they lost more this offseason than they gained back.
That's interesting. Dang. I was thinking the Bills because while I do like Dalton Kincaid, he is going to provide them another target in the passing game. I still kind of felt like they could have, maybe try to get a wide receiver because
Yeah.
Gabe Davis, he has moments, but he hasn't been consistent. They lost Isaiah McKenzie, so it's still
Hmm.
kind of the loner game in terms of wide receiver for Stephon Diggs. So I guess they're trying to cultivate those receptions and targets to the tight end room with Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid. And I do kind of agree with the Dallas thing. The only thing I questioned with Dallas was the drafting the Luke Schoonmaker that high when I felt like Ferguson was pretty decent. They could have been okay with a tight end room, but They felt like they wanted to address the need right there. I can't blame them. The Mozzie Smith pick, it wasn't surprising, but it still surprised me because Brian Breesy was right
Yeah,
there.
right. And I think that's where a lot of people went. You still had Miles Murphy. You still had I think Miles Murphy had went before
I
Mozzie
think
did.
it was after.
Then if it wasn't, you had two. Yeah, I think that's that's why I said I feel like that was a reach for them, and I think that was a panic pick since the Bills had jumped over them to get a tight end. I really think, and even talking to some Cowboy fans, they were like, we thought we were hoping Bijan would have fell to us, but they were hoping that they can get a tight end. They were really needing a tight end. So I think that's the route that they were really wanting to go, and that didn't happen. With that, because even then, going back and looking at it, they got a defensive tackle. They went and got a tight end. What is this? A defensive end, offensive tackle, cornerback, running back, and a wide receiver. And that running back came in the 6th round.
Yeah, and they might even think about bringing Zeke back.
They're gonna probably. I mean, that's at this point you're gonna have to. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Overshawn picked. I think that was the only pick that I really liked for them in the 3rd round. I think that Overshawn from Texas. I think that was the only pick that I was like, okay, yeah, I can see where y'all trying to go, but I just do not feel that their draft class was where they really wanted. I don't see any difference. I don't see them getting better. And like you said, and I even thinking, I said, well, if y'all didn't get the running back y'all want, y'all might as well go ahead and bring on Zeke back for one more year.
Yeah. And for the record, folks, I'm not bashing the players. I think these were 2 players that were very good, Mozzie Smith and Schoonmaker, because I watched them. I just I kind of felt like they were going to go Breesy there at 26, but they went Mozzie Smith. And of course, I don't think a lot of people knew Mozzie Smith if you didn't watch a lot of college football.
Yeah.
But I think he's a good player. He kind of reminds me of Daron Payne when he came out, elite run stopper, but still trying to work on his pass rush skills. That's my comp to him.
Yeah. And that's the thing is he still needs to. I feel like Breesy would have been more of a Dan Quinn style pick, but I don't know if the injuries kind of scared them away a little bit when it comes down to it. I mean, like I said, you still have Miles Murphy that was right there too. So, Cowboys seem to work on some things. I don't know. Yeah, you never know. Might be between you, the Washington Commanders, and the Giants. And when it comes down to that last little position, because we already know what everybody's gonna give it to. They're gonna give it to the Eagles, or as they call them, the Eagle Dogs.
Yeah. All right. So when we come back, we're going to talk about each respective team's draft, and we're going to talk about our projected rookie of the year.
Do you sit back and say, man, these walls just need something? Feel like it's time to freshen up your place with something new? If your answer is yes, then it's time to call Rob of Lewis Paints Plus, the accent wall expert. Rob will even give you a free estimate on how he can transform those boring walls in your home. To book today, call 240-418-5241 or reach out on Instagram at Lewis Paints Plus. And for 10% off, tell him Red Zone sent you.
And we are back with Enter the Lab podcast. And now we're going to go ahead and talk about each respectable team that all 3 of us represent. And the first team we're going to start off with is the Atlanta Falcons. So what do you thought about what Atlanta did?
Be honest with you, we already killed it in the offseason. So I wasn't surprised at all with the route that we decided to take. Now, let the fans tell you, we should have went Jalen Carter. We should have went Nolan Smith. We should have went Keeley. We should have went so many Georgia players. It's not even funny. I mean, I literally charged up somebody who really thought that comparing Nolan Smith and Zach Harrison together when they even literally have the same stats. Like, and you got to realize too, Nolan missed half his senior year. So for a person that's a pure edge rush compared to a person who rush the passer but can drop back in coverage, that's not really a fair comparison, and it's a mute point, and it technically kind of proved Georgia fans right of why, you know, we still could have went and chose Nolan Smith. But again, you know, we've been fighting for the past week of why the Bijan pick was the best pick for what we're trying to do. And like I said, I am happy with our draft class. We got some good stunners that are going to come in and work. I like our offensive tackle who's going to move into guard. I love him from Syracuse. Bergeron, that was a good pickup right there. Like I said, getting us an edge guy and Zach Harrison, that was a good pick. You know, so again, we're doing what we need to do it. We went out there and spent, I think they said we spent like $84 million in the offseason, and majority of those picks were on defense. So again, I can't wait to see this product on the field, because you know, last year they said we only going to win 2 games. We had a, you know, little 7, little 9 season last year with what we had with a Marcus Mariota-led team. Okay. So now we over here. We got Desmond Ridder some help with the running back position. He got the wide receivers. He got the tight end. We still just missing a wide receiver too, but we could pick that up anywhere. I prefer that anyway. But I feel like we're going to contend for the NFC South this year. We still got some competition with the Panthers, the Saints, and the Bucks, but I feel like I think this year that NFC South is going to be a conference. Well, I guess you can say a conference to watch. We ain't gonna talk about the East though, but hey.
Okay. But I do agree. I do like y'all draft because y'all stay with y'all identity. Y'all know what y'all want to do, and y'all gonna continue to do it. Y'all run heavy team with great play action, the tight ends, Drake London. The one thing I thought y'all were going to do, I thought y'all were going to get a wide receiver. One wide receiver that I constantly mock to y'all, and this is just me. When, you know, Arthur Smith was with the Tennessee Titans, he had A.J. Brown. So in my head, I was like, Jonathan Mingo makes too much sense for Desmond Ridder. That's why I was like, bro, if they get Jonathan Mingo, that's going to be a nasty combination. But nevertheless, you did address other needs and stuff. I think Zach Harrison, from my scouting report, from watching him years with Ohio State, of course, he was after Chase Young, so he kind of never really lived up to the expectations to the Nick Bosa's and Chase Young. But he kind of did his own way. He still was very impactful. I think he's going to be a better pro than a college player because of the experience he had at Ohio State. So you know, he's going to have an impact not only as rushing the passer, but identifying protection slides and be able to stop the run. So he's going to be a guy that's going to get some snaps with the defense with Arnold and Ndeke that you guys drafted last year, and even Bud Dupree and also Carter.
Yeah, and like I said, I feel like those additions that we had, a lot of people are talking about we still didn't address edge. I'm like, okay, that's fine. You can keep addressing edge every year to have that pass rush, or, you know, even the likes of Jalen Carter. Again, it doesn't make a difference. We can't keep addressing the same situation. We haven't had a true pass rush since John Abraham left us. So again, we've been trying to find that way, trying to find different ways to do it. I feel like we probably are leaning more into that this season. So I'm gonna give it to him. Like I said, Clark Phillips, you know, we even got Helms from Alabama. Like I said, we're sticking to our identity, and we're loving, and I love it. Those are my dirty birds. I will see them in training camp. I hope they have open practice again this year, so I can go see them when they do their open practice, so I can get a feel of the team.
Yeah, and meanwhile, a team in DC, the Washington Commanders, they finished their draft with 7 picks. Of course, the first round, there was a lot of buildup with the Emmanuel Forbes pick. And there's one guy on our fan base that was screaming heavily for Emmanuel Forbes. I was with Emmanuel Forbes. I just didn't really expect us to take him at 16.
Who did y'all expect to take? Who are you looking to take? Because I didn't heard so many backlash about that pick.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so obviously Christian Gonzalez was right there, and the way he fell, everybody was like, "Yo, this is it. This is how Ron wins the fan base back. He gets Christian Gonzalez, a top guy, but he's still with Emmanuel Forbes. But at the end of the day, I said this early in off season and in the spaces. I said this defense is good. It's top 10.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that is missing on this defense is a guy that can take the ball away and flip field on a consistent basis. We only had 9 interceptions last year, and we gave up at least close to 26 to 28 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So that has been a problem for the defense in terms of, so Enter Emmanuel Forbes, guy played in the SEC, played against the likes of Devontae Smith, guys from LSU, guys he's battle tested. He's just a ball magnet. He's just a ball magnet. That's something we need in our secondary. Kendall Fuller, he's a solid veteran. Benjamin St. Juice, he's more of a lockdown guy. He's not going to get you interceptions, but he's going to at least try to hold the bigger wide receivers to at least 50 to 75 yards, just at least. But you need a guy that can flip the field on defense, especially we have a young quarterback that's trying to get some reps consistently, trying to see what type of quarterback he is in the National Football League. And the second pick, that was the pick that kind of surprised a lot of people, especially once again with the people on the board. But when you kind of see the vision with first 2 picks, they're just addressing the secondary and they're trying to get turnovers. They're trying to get some turnovers. We already got the pass rush. You got a linebacker that's still growing the system. He did better his second year. You got some solid veterans, but you don't have guys that can take the ball away and flip field. So these 2 guys, they address the outside corner need and the Buffalo nickel need. Ricky Stromberg, that was my favorite pick because we all know about the center position. Trace Willier, he missed a couple years. He only played like 10 games in 2 years. Tyler Lawson has missed some time. So I expect him to somewhere down the stretch, even though we signed Nick Gates to be the starter, I expect Stromberg to take this job away somewhere in the middle of the season because I just see him look like he's NFL ready right now. Also address another guard need at Brandon Daniels. Defensive end need. I think
took my guard at 16.
Well, your guard fell to 59. we ain't gonna talk about that. We ain't gonna talk about that. That boy. But I think the other best pick was, of course, KJ Henry, the pick out of Clemson. We all know what's going to happen with the defensive line. Obviously, a lot of defensive ends in our room, they're on 1-year deals. So you have to add some depth in that room. And KJ Henry, he was a guy that played on the same defensive line as a Brian Breesty, Miles Murphy, and he was very productive. So that's going to be a guy that's going to be getting some snaps when Chase Young and Montez Sweat needs to win, and possibly if can't bring one of those defensive ends back next year. So overall, I like the draft. I mean, of course, we're going to shock people because we didn't go the way that we wanted to go on our mock drafts and stuff, but we're not in the room with Ron Rivera and Martin Mayhew.
Yeah, and I agree. I feel like you said, I like the way you explained it and broke it down. Again, going back-to-back defensive needs, like you said, you need that. Y'all didn't have a lot of takeaways, and again, you don't want to get beat downfield all the time. You don't want to have that. And like I said, when you have especially again, your pass rush is going to help out your corner, it's going to help out the secondary. But your secondary can only do so much on their end if they're getting burnt all the time. You know, not all the time you can sit over there and get to the quarterback sometime. Maybe you can cause some pressure, but if you're playing against the likes of, and I'm just throwing out some random names, like against a Joey Burrow, or even a Jalen Hurts, or a lot of times, I'm even gonna throw mine in there, like a Desmond Ritter. I'm just giving him praise right now, but you never know what can happen in that time frame. If you ain't got the corners back there that can do it, because even sometimes we question AJ. I ain't gonna lie to you, AJ Terrell's a good cornerback, but we question him too. So again, I do like y'all draft. I do think y'all were another one of those little quiet ones that just kind of just went out there, got your needs, and left. Basically, like, hey, we ain't here to fuss and fight. We're going to get our guys and we're going to go. So I really do see that. I can't wait to see y'all in that division, though. Hopefully the Cowboys will be at the bottom. We all want that.
Yeah, it's going to be a dogfight for sure.
Hey, y'all, what's up? It's your girl, Lady E. Make sure y'all catch us on Falcons Tuesday. That's every Tuesday at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. And for my people that live in the Central Time, 5:30. Okay, this is where we go down and we talk about the Falcons game. We talk about Falcons information, breaking news, everything. And if you even just want to vent about them Atlanta Falcons, come on, because baby, Dirty Bird Nation be ready for you and be ready to hear it. So, like I said, catch us out on the Spaces on Twitter. You can find me at Lady E_. Tell them, love y'all. Mwah.
The team that made some of the biggest moves in this draft
And
and
cause some disruption.
cause of disruption, we're going to let Steve Henry rock the floor with his boy Brad Holmes, what he was cooking up in the Motor City.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys, man. Thank you guys, man. I like Forbes, man. I really do. You guys know how I felt about Bijan, so I think both you guys teams really did a good job and came up. Was questioning that Martin pick a little bit, but he's a good player, so I like that a lot for you guys in Washington. Atlanta continues to be sneaky good down there. I see what you guys doing down there, so kudos to them. My Lions. You know, we did some things. We did cause some controversy. You know, an uproar, if you will. Went very, very unconventional, but I like the players that we got. We grabbed Jahmyr Gibbs in round 1 after trading down from 6. You know. And, you know, some folks, you know, immediately had questions like, you know, do we want to run it back this high? And if we were going to get one this high, why not Bijan? You know, and I'm kind of like, yeah, I can see that a little bit. So it's very interesting to start. Jack Campbell was a guy that I know that they definitely coveted and wanted, but I thought he was a second round. I had a second round grade on him. I thought he would be a second round target. And I thought once we acquired that 34th pick, that we were, you know what I'm saying, had it pretty much, you know, made in the shade that we can probably get him maybe later in the first round. But we took him at 18, man, and some folks thought that was a reach. Again, you know, Brad went and got his guy. He said he was the highest rated player on his board overall and the highest rated off-ball linebacker. So he went and got his guy. Then came back around and I think at 34 got Sam Laporta, who again, some folks had a little bit lower down the draft board. But again, I mean, you know, for us, you guys have been telling us we're going to draft tight end for the last month or so. And I've been like, no, not until round 3, not until round 4. And sure enough, they grabbed your Siggity Sam right there at 34. But, you know, we stopped there for a minute, just pause there. The names and the positions, the names sound good. The positions we drafted them, some folks may have some questions on it. And initially I was kind of shocked. But as the day kind of went by, set in a little bit, let my medication kind of, you know what I'm saying, let me see things a little bit clearer. You know, I came around, man. I like our class. We were able to get, you know, Brian Branch. We jumped in front of a couple teams in the second round at 48. Jumped up to 45 to get Brian Branch. We grabbed Hendon Hooker to be kind of a quarterback in waiting. Then after that, it was kind of touch and go. We traded 3 or 4 picks to get a guy who was slated to go in the 5th or 6th round. So I don't know about that. I kind of dinged Brad on that. But overall, I think it was a good draft. I gave us a strong B. Again, I thought that there was an opportunity for us to possibly get an Emmanuel Forbes possibly at 12 or a Kalijah Kancey at 18, who would have been somebody who can kind of fill that need in terms of providing that pass rush up the middle of the field. Not the ideal size weight candidate that we probably were looking at, but again, the last time we passed on an undersized defensive tackle, he ended up being one of the best of all time in Aaron Donald. So, again, you know, I felt that we could have got the haul that we got plus a little bit more if we didn't reach so much. Did we reach? I feel like we did. Did we get good players? I think that we did. Did we fill a lot of our needs? I think that we did. So I'm still excited about what Brad did. I still believe, Brad. I still believe.
Yeah. I like that. I like that Branch trade. To be honest with you, was a lot of Falcon fans that were saying that he was still on the board and possibly grab him as well. Now, I am going to applaud y'all for that Hendon Hooker. I am going to applaud y'all for that. He is an older quarterback. You know, they was making fun of it, saying that Jared Goff is like 2 years older than him. No, younger than him. With that, so it's. I'll be honest with you. I like it because that it's showing me that, hey, y'all gonna get what y'all gonna get out of Goff. But if y'all, you know, he can train him up, get him ready, prepared. Like I said, he may be cleared to play. He got that knee, rest that knee, get you know, understand the NFL, understand the system. But I do like that pickup for y'all. I do like that. Like I said, I'm still gonna scratch my head at the running back at 12. I'm still gonna scratch it. I feel like y'all could have got him like at either 18, but hey, again.
Yeah, I think we, you know, the word is that we got kind of spooked by there was some word that the Jets had some interest in him, I guess at 13. At 15. and possibly New England at 13. Now, to me, New England, it's not really been in their DNA or their history to draft a running back that high. So I have some questions about that. And again, the Jets have Breece Hall, who was pretty much a great all-around back last year. So I was kind of like, did they give you the pump fake? Did they give you the dead leg and you took it? But again, man, looking back on these things, man, again, these are just talking points until we get to the season, the season release, the top 100, and then we in the camp and we like, okay, all systems go. So these are just subjective talking points just to keep us going. The biggest winner in all this is the NFL marketing machine, because we can't stop talking about none of it.
Exactly.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy C. Henry, the host and producer of the Fellas Present Sports Rap Podcast. I discuss the latest happenings around the NFL, college football, the NBA, and also the latest from the Detroit sports scene. I try to keep it informative and funny, and we always keep it light with some of my hip-hop favorites mixed in as interludes. Follow me at CHEN313 on Twitter. That's at CHEN313. And also subscribe to the show on Anchor, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. And again, that's DA, Fellas Presents Sports Rap Podcast.
So real quick, C. Henry. So since, of course, you guys now have Hendon Hooker, do you think with probably some of the fan base that are with the fact that y'all drafted him, do you think that puts some pressure on Jared Goff heading into the season? Could there possibly, be talks about trades down the line just to get some value back for him? Because you drafted a guy that's going to be the future, and you already know with Jared Goff, we know what he is. And it's no disrespect. I think he's a solid quarterback, but if there's a trade offer that someone needs a quarterback, because quarterbacks movement happen every year. It happens every year. So there's going to be a team interested in a Jared Goff, especially if they're trying to reboot their team or they need someone for a contender.
So I think the good thing is that with him and that we drafted him where we drafted him in the third round, and there's very, very little expectation. The name is the name. He could have been the best third or fourth quarterback in this draft, but there's very, very little expectation on that third round pick. In terms of pressure on Goff is coming up on a contract year. I think the only thing that this probably does is really reduce his ability to get that 5 or 6 year long-term deal. If we didn't have any other type of options there, he will probably be looking for that long-term deal. Now I think this probably locks him into probably a 2 or 3 year deal, where we can probably get out of it after probably 1 or 2 years if Hendon develops. But at worst, we feel like we got a guy who can be a very, very, very solid backup. If you look at our team where we were, we didn't have that. And if something were to happen to Goff, our season would go to crap, because we don't have anything behind him.
Mm-hmm.
This year, I don't know what Hendon's physically going to be able to do, but we're looking for, at the very least, we're going to have a very solid, formidable backup to our quarterback who we took in the third round, who there's very, very low expectation on. And the weapons around him will be the weapons around him if he has to play. Now, if he develops in a year and two, a guy that we have to get on the field, then yes, it's a good position to have. Like you said, he's only 2 years younger than Goff. Goff in 3 years will still be very much, I think, 31 years old, 32 years old. If he continues to play like he has, he will have value, like you said, DT, on the open market. And you got this young kid behind him who's ready to play. So it was a lot. It was a play for upgrading the roster in the near future at the backup spot, but also a ceiling play to see how high this guy's ceiling is. And if he's ready to get on the field in a couple of years, watch out.
Yeah. I'll give y'all that. Like I said, y'all set yourself up for the future. So again, we all know what the Detroit Lions is coming to do. They trying to come take that north, baby.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy to be in the leader seat, if you will, at this point, at this juncture, without any history of being the leader. So it's funny, and our fan base. Listen, that draft grade thing. Look, our fan base so upset. They want A's from everybody. They don't care who you are. They want an A. They feel like Brad did his thing, and I feel like Brad did his thing. But hey, we can still nitpick here and there. You know what I'm saying? We can still criticize a couple things, but they like, listen, if you ain't giving me an A, you whack as hell, you weak as hell. Blah, blah, blah. So hold on. we gotta make them believe first. You know what I'm saying? They getting real Detroit out here, baby. They real Detroit out here. We thirsty for a winner out here, baby.
Oh boy, y'all about to tear the city down, man. All right, so this is what everybody's kind of been looking for. Who is going to be projected from you guys rookie of the year? I'm already going to start it off. To me, I think it's going to be Bryce Young. I think he has Frank Wright. He has a lot of guys that understand playing the quarterback position. And I also love Thomas Brown, the addition for him coming from the Los Angeles Rams. I think he's going to have a great system. They did address wide receiver, running back, some veterans that know what to do. Carolina's in a, they're in NFC South. So we understand that Atlanta has made some moves to be better. Saints made some moves to be better. The big questions about what the Bucs are going to do. Could they possibly be the number one pick next year? I don't know. But I think it's going to be a three-way race, and I think Carolina's going to be in it, and it's going to be because of Bryce Young's playmaking ability.
That's LeBron now.
There she go. There she goes, C. Henry. She don't like that, C. Henry.
That's LeBron now.
Go ahead, let us know who your rookie of the year candidate will be.
To be honest with you, I'm gonna be biased today. Bijan Robinson, what? He's going to a team that's a run first team. He's an all-purpose back. So best believe Desmond Ridder is gonna sit over here and make that connection. He love him Drake London. He love him some Kyle Pitts. But when he get that Bijan in him, I feel like that's gonna be his number one target, and I feel like Bijan can sit over here and probably surpass the 1,000 yards. So I'm gonna give him that. That's my rookie of the year, B-Rob. Yeah, no. Look here, we not gonna talk him mustard.
Listen, Bijan Mustard is in the building. Bijan Mustard is in the building. Listen, he's not gonna just come in here and take nobody's nickname before he done did anything. You don't get no nickname before you did anything unless you going with Bijan Mustard.
Bijan Mustard. Oh my God.
I'm gonna go with mine, man. You know what? I think you guys chose two great choices, and I think I'm a little biased towards Bijan as well because I think he's going to get the ball a lot. It's going to really be dependent on Atlanta's defense and see if they can keep them out of shootouts. If Atlanta can be ahead or be in close games, Bijan is going to get a lot of touches. But I still wonder, Algier looked good, so is he going to be kind of a 1B situation, or is it going to be kind of a he's the backup situation? So I think that's going to be the key.
I'll be honest with you, it's going to be more so 1B. The thing about it is, and before we get to your pick, the thing about it is with Tyler Algier is more so that he can hit the holes. That's good, but he really is not a catcher out the backfield like that. So I really feel like he's still going to help probably, take some time off and give Bijan a chance, and they still entertain be that two-headed back. But he's not really just that all-purpose back. But promise you, he can sit over there and carry a line too. Okay, he like Bijan. He can carry a line and hit them holes. He's strong, but that's that you got Bijan 1A. That's 1B. He ain't gonna play no backup role.
Well, I'm going to be a little bit partial. I'm going to go with the quarterback position. I'm going to go with C.J. Stroud because I think that, he's going to have a choice. He's going to have a chance to put up some stats in Houston. They're going to probably be behind in some games. And low-key, when you look at the development of Dameon Pierce last year at the running back spot, solid offensive line. They got a little bit of help in the draft at that position as well. They've got Nico Collins, you know what I mean? They have John Mechie, who's coming off an injury. They also drafted, the young guy, Tank Dell.
Tank Dell from Houston. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's going to have some weapons. I forgot they had a couple of young tight ends as well. And again, I think that he's going to be playing from behind a lot. If he's efficient with the ball and doesn't turn it over, he's going to have a chance to put up some yards, put up some numbers, kind of like the young man did in Jacksonville this past year. We're gonna push away that first year because that coach wasn't heavily invested. But you know what I'm saying? We look at what Trevor did last year. He made a huge impact. So I look for C.J. Stroud, man, to do something real big down there. And I like what Houston did too. They really got two of the top 4 or 5 players in the draft, a couple of good pieces along the way. So they set themselves up very, very well.
They did. I like it. But we staying with B-Rob though. Staying with B-Rob.
You gonna let her just take his name? DT, you gonna let her just, you know what I'm saying? Don't y'all let her B-Rob?
Hey, look.
Deuce just told me y'all B-Rob ran for 900 yards and about 8 or 9 touchdowns or something like that, or 2 or 3 or something like that.
That's Bijan South. We talking about Bijan Midwest. Even in the East, that's what you talking about. Bijan Mid East. Then you got
Wait a
Bijan
minute.
South.
Wait a minute. Hold on. You done took the boy's first name from him? Hold on. You can't. This boy a couple years older than you done signed him already. He ain't even played it. Oh man. Hey, beat the real B-Rod, the original B-Rod. You see how they do you, dog? Them your people, dog. They called you Bijan Jr. They called you Bijan Jr.
Hey, his name Junior. His last name is Junior. What you talking about?
He Bijan must until he do something. That's how I'm gonna call it. Bijan must until he do something.
Oh Lord, you and this mustard.
So with that being said, I know Lady E, we were talking in pre-production. I know you got some things to get off your chest, so I'm gonna let you go ahead and get in the kitchen.
I got some things, baby, some things. What's up, y'all? This is my closing thought. I'm gonna sit over here and go back off of what Henry said about the draft grade because I'm talking to you, Falcon fans. Stop with all of that, okay? Stop with all of that. Draft grades, positional value, whatever. Enjoy the class. Enjoy the fact that we drafted for what we needed to draft. And that's for everybody. You know, again, you may not like your draft pick. And I'm going to tell y'all like this. You got a problem with it? You know, there's a website that you can go to called NFL.com. And it's called careers. Or you can actually go to your team site and go sit over there and go see if they're hiring for any player personnel, some scouting, different things like that. Get yourselves in here. Okay, stop complaining. Stop sitting over here making a big deal about who they didn't pick, what type of philosophy that they're not following. We got this draft class. I'm giving this draft class an F because they didn't get nobody I picked. Stop complaining. Okay, that's why your GM gets paid the big bucks, your coach get paid the big bucks, and you're just sitting at home watching and enjoying. Okay, I'm like Henry. Shout out to the NFL marketing because that's why we are talking about it. That's why we're here. Shout out to us loving football because that's another thing why we're here. Again, let these guys play out. Then let's revisit this and have this conversation 2 to 3 years from now when we do it because we are starting to see some of these draft classes that did not pan out. Talking about us too. Our whole 2017 draft class was not even null and void. We don't even have none of those guys on the team. So again, it doesn't matter who you pick. Doesn't matter about the draft play. Doesn't matter about positional value. Let these guys play what they love and grew and what we love to watch. Okay? All right. Now, my Falcons going to the Super Bowl soon, though. Okay? So don't y'all try to hit me with no more 28-3. Okay? Love y'all. Mwah.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Enter the Lab with your boy DT, Atlanta's #1 lady, Lady E, and yours truly, C. Henry.
Thank you for listening to Enters the Lab podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Red Zone in the Lab and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You can download your podcast wherever you get your podcasts and visit us at redzoneinthelab.com.